Hi, this is Andy from Estella's Revenge, and I'm back today with a review of Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. And I'm actually participating in an event in August called Austen in August, and this is based in the blogosphere as opposed to BookTube. There is also an event going on here in BookTube. I just haven't jumped in on it. I might still, I don't know. But this is my first book read for August, and it's the first Jane Austen book I've read in a little while. I read Pride and Prejudice many years ago and really enjoyed it. I loved the film adaptation of Emma when I was growing up. I watched that incessantly in high school, and I was terribly in love with Mr. Knightley. And so I thought it would be good to read some more Austen, and I've had this book on my shelves for years. I want to say I picked out my original paperback maybe 10 years ago. I was drawn to the fact that this is a satire of Gothic novels, and so that was why I originally picked it up. I'm just not quite sure why I didn't read it before now. It was another kind of low quality mass market paperback similar to my copy of Rebecca that I had for a very long time that I didn't read, and so I thought it would be worthwhile to upgrade to a much nicer edition, so I bought the Penguin English Library edition from Book Depository. So I started reading this book probably late last week, and it just really took me a couple of days to read. It's about 225 pages long, and this was the first novel that Austen sold, and I want to say that was the early 1800s. I can't remember what year exactly, but it actually was not published until 15 years later. And it definitely, if you've read more of her work, it is much lighter in tone in comparison to like a Pride and Prejudice or an Emma. I mean, all of her books are comedies of manners, and this is no different. I mean, this is still a comedy of manners, but it is different in that the protagonist, Catherine Morland, is very innocent, and she is very inexperienced in the world. She's very green, and so she hasn't really formed a lot of her own opinions yet. She's very quick to adopt the opinions of others because she doesn't have opinions of her own. And so she goes with family friends to Bath for a holiday of about 6 weeks, and while she is there, she meets Isabella and John. I want to say his first name was John Thorpe. And so they become quite close. They do a lot of things in society. They go to parties and balls and stuff. But the Thorpes are not necessarily all that they seem. So around the same time, she also meets the Tilneys, Henry Tilney and his sister, whose name has just left me, so I apologize. I did a written review of this one on my blog, so I'll link it below, but I just can't remember at the moment. But anyway, so she's kind of stuck between a set of false friends and a set of very good friends, and she has to figure out who's who. And that is the majority of the first half of the book. The second half of the book is where the Gothic portion of it comes in. She is invited to visit Northanger Abbey, and there she discovers suites of locked rooms, just a lot of different Gothic elements that are a lot of fun if you enjoy Gothic literature. Her mind runs amok at the Abbey because she just lets her imagination get away from her. So yeah, Catherine Morland is a lot of fun. She's a very enjoyable character. Henry Tilney is great as well. This book is also different in that the love interests are not necessarily well suited to each other in most people's opinion. You know, it was quite obvious that Elizabeth Bennet and Darcy are very well suited to one another intellectually. They're on a very similar level. That is not necessarily the case with Catherine Morland and her man in this book. For those of you who haven't read it or don't know a lot about it, I won't expound on that a whole lot. But they're just a different kind of couple. So it was really interesting. I have to say that in comparison to a Pride and Prejudice or an Emma, this would be my least favorite, but don't let that mislead you. This was still a book that I rated 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads instead of 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, a very good book, a very quick read. If you like Jane Austen already, absolutely make sure that you make time for Northanger Abbey. And there's also a BBC miniseries of this book that is available on YouTube. So I will link that below to the first part of that. I've already started watching it, and it is a lot of fun. I'm sure I will do that over the weekend. So I hope you all have had a great week. I hope you have plenty of Jane Austen in your life, and I will see you soon.